Welcome to Tarvo Said. If your dream is to become an agriculture field officer in a public sector bank, this video is going to change the way you prepare for IBPS AFO 2026. So before we begin, let me ask you a question. Which examination is more difficult to prepare for? UPSC or IBPS AFO? Most people will immediately answer UPSC. And I completely agree because UPSC is one of the toughest examinations in India. But today I want to discuss something interesting. In one particular aspect, preparing for IBPS AFO can actually be more challenging. Let me explain why. When you prepare for UPSC, you receive a clearly defined syllabus. Every aspirant knows the broad boundaries of the examination. But in IBPS Agriculture Field Officer Professional Knowledge, the syllabus and its exact scope is never clearly explained. Every year, thousands of students ask the same questions. How deep should I study soil science? Should I study every chapter in agronomy? Which portions of horticulture are actually important? How much banking should I prepare? Where should I stop? The truth is, no one outside IBPS can answer these questions with certainty. Even if someone claims they know the exact paper, they don't. Nobody knows. Not me, not any coaching institute, not any YouTube channel, and that is exactly what makes preparation difficult. Most students respond by doing only one thing. They study everything, every textbook, every chapter, every note they can find, every resources they find. Months passes, their confidence decreases, their revision becomes impossible, and finally, during the examination, what happens? They realize something. They worked hard, but they didn't work strategically. That is why I decided to approach this examination differently. Instead of asking what books should students study, I asked a different question. What has IBPS actually been asking for the last 13 years? That one question started this entire video. I collected every professional knowledge questions asked in IBPS AFO exam from 2013 to 2025. Every question was carefully classified according to its subject. Then each subject was divided into individual concepts. Then I compared those patterns with the newly revised IBPS AFO 2026 patterns. After that, I looked at recent developments in agriculture, banking, government schemes, technology, and the changing role of agriculture field officers. Only then did I prepare the roadmap you are going to see today. Now, I want to make one thing absolutely clear before we go further. This roadmap is not an official IBPS document. IBPS has never published an official subject wise question distribution. IBPS has never released a chapter wise preparation guide. Everything you are about to see is a data driven preparation strategy built using previous year questions, the revised syllabus, and trend analysis. Could IBPS ask questions outside these projections? Of course. Competitive examinations can always surprise us. But let me ask you something. If you had to travel to a new city, would you rather travel with a map or without one? A map doesn't guarantee there won't be traffic. A map doesn't guarantee there won't be roadblocks, but it gives you the best possible direction based on the information available. That is exactly what this roadmap is. It is not a prediction, it is a preparation strategy. And I believe strategy is what separates successful candidates from everyone else. Now, let us understand something that almost every aspirant misunderstands. Many students believe every chapter has equal importance. It doesn't. Think like a farmer. A farmer does not apply the same amount of fertilizer to every field without understanding the soil. He first studies the land, then he decides where more attention is needed. Preparation works exactly the same way. Every subject deserves respect, but every subject does not contribute equally to the examination. If history consistently shows that one subject contributes more questions than another, shouldn't your study time reflect that difference? That is exactly the purpose of today's analysis. Not to reduce your syllabus, but to help you prioritize it. And that single difference can save hundreds of hours of preparation. Another mistake students make is chasing every PDF they find on Telegram. Every week a new document appears. Expected questions, most important topics, sure shot notes, then last minute PDF. Students download everything, read almost nothing, and end up revising even less. Preparation becomes collection, collection becomes confusion, confusion becomes stress. This year, don't let that happen. Instead of collecting material, build clarity. Once your roadmap is clear, choosing books, notes, and classes becomes much easier. Now, there is one more question many students ask me, sir, if this is not official, why should we trust it? A fair question. Agreed. And my answer is very simple, don't trust me. Trust the data. When hundreds of previous year questions repeatedly show similar patterns, ignoring those patterns would make no sense. Every serious aspirant analyzes previous year questions. Every serious mentor analyzes previous year questions because examinations leave footprints. No paper is exactly the same, but examinations often repeat concepts, themes, and priorities. That is what we are trying to understand today. Not the exact question paper, the thinking process behind the examination we are going to understand today. And once you understand that thinking process, your preparation changes completely. So here is what we are going to do in this video. First, I will show you the overall distribution of subjects, which subject deserves maximum attention, which subjects are rising in trends, which subjects are relatively smaller but still important. Then we will go one level deeper. Instead of saying study agronomy, we will identify which portion inside agronomy deserve greater attention. We will do the same for soil science, animal husbandry, horticulture, agriculture engineering, plant pathology, agriculture economics, banking and agricultural finance, plant breeding, then fisheries, sericulture and forestry. By the end of this video, you won't simply know the syllabus, you will know how to approach it. So keep your notebook ready because this is not a video to watch once and forget. This is a roadmap you will keep referring to throughout your preparation. Let's begin with overall subject-wise analysis. Why should you believe this analysis? Before I show you the subject-wise distribution, I want you to answer one important question. Some of you may be thinking, sir, there are many YouTube channels discussing the IBPS AFO syllabus. So why this analysis is different? That's a fair question. Let me tell you exactly why. Most syllabus videos simply read what IBPS has published. Some channels explain each subject. Some channels tell you which books to study. There is nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to answer a different question. Instead of asking what is the syllabus, I asked how has IBBS actually used this syllabus over the last 13 years? Those are two completely different questions. The syllabus tells you what can be asked. Previous year questions tell you what has actually been asked. And when you combine those with the newly revised syllabus, you get something much more useful than a simple syllabus explanation. You get a preparation strategy. Think of it like this. Suppose you are a farmer entering into a new piece of land. Would you immediately start sowing seeds? No. First, you understand the soil. You check the fertility. You study the water availability. You plan your crop. Only then do you begin cultivation. Preparation is exactly the same. The syllabus is your land, the previous year questions are your soil test, and this roadmap is your cultivation plan. Without a plan, even the best seeds may not produce the best harvest. Similarly, without a strategy, even brilliant students struggle to convert hard work into marks. That is why I genuinely believe preparation should always begin with analysis, not with books, not with coaching, not with endless PDF, with analysis. Because once your direction is correct, everything else becomes much easier. So now let's look at what the data actually tells us. Okay, so prelims we are going to have 25 questions, 50 marks, 20 minutes, and for mains we are going to have 50 questions, that is 100 marks, 40 minutes. Okay, you see this is the subject wise question distribution. Prelims is mains. Okay, prelims out of 25 we have mapped, and mains out of 50 questions we have mapped, and we have given trend analysis for that subject. Don't worry about memorizing these numbers. I want you to understand the story behind them, because once you understand the story, you'll never forget the priorities. Let's begin with the biggest player, okay? Agronomy. Agronomy continues to occupy the number one position. Why? Because agricultural field officers are expected to understand crop production. Every farmer walking into a bank grows crop. When the bank sanctions a crop loan, you are going to understand the crop cycle, irrigation requirements, nutrient management, cropping system, and cultivation practices. That is why agronomy has consistently remained one of the strongest pillars of the examination. It is important because the job itself demands this knowledge. Whenever history and job requirements point in the same direction, so that subject deserves maximum attention. So, if your preparation has not yet started, agronomy should definitely be among your priority list. Soil science and plant nutrition. Many students underestimate soil science because they think it is mostly theoretical. But think about agriculture without soil. It is impossible. Everything starts with soil: crop productivity, nutrient availability, fertilizer recommendations, problem soils, reclamation, micronutrient deficiencies. Almost every agricultural decision begins with understanding the soil. That is exactly why soil science has consistently contributed a large share of professional knowledge questions. If I had to give one piece of advice to you, don't memorize soil science. Understand it. Once concept become clear, questions becomes much easier. Okay. Next, your focus should be on animal husbandry. Now, many students from agricultural background make one common mistake. They postpone animal husbandry. They think, I'll study it later. Please don't make that mistake. Animal husbandry is not a small subject in IBPS AFO. Livestock contributes significantly to Indian agriculture. Banks finance dairy farms, goat farms, sheep units, poultry farms, and many livestock based enterprises. An agricultural field officer is expected to understand these sectors. That is why animal husbandry continues to remain among the highest weightage topics. If you become strong in breeds, disease, milk, reproduction, and nutrition, you automatically strengthen one of the biggest scoring areas, that is animal husbandry. Okay, next, horticulture. Now let's talk about a subject whose importance has steadily increased, that is horticulture. Years ago, many students treated horticulture as a secondary subject, but agriculture is changing. High value crops, protected cultivation, fruit production, vegetables, post harvest management, plantation crops, these areas are becoming increasingly important. Banks are financing horticultural projects more than ever before. Naturally, questions from horticulture are also becoming more relevant. So, if your old preparation strategy ignored horticulture, it is time to change that approach. Let's move to agricultural engineering. Now, here another mistake students make. They either become scared of engineering or they completely ignore it. Neither approach is correct. Remember, IBBS is not testing whether you can become an engineer. It wants to know whether you understand agricultural equipment and technologies used in the field, basic farm machineries, irrigation systems, implements, sprayers, recent technologies like drones. Focus on concepts rather than calculations. That approach works much better for this examination. This is another subject showing an upward trend, that is plant pathology and entomology. We call it as crop production. Why? Because modern agriculture increasingly focuses on diagnostics, integrated pest management, disease identification, biological control, safe pesticide use. Climate change is altering pest and disease behavior. Understanding plant production has become even more important. Don't simply memorize diseases. Understand the symptoms, understand casual organism, understand the management. That's how IBBS generally frames conceptual questions. Next, banking and agricultural finance related questions. Now, I want every aspirant to pay close attention to this topic. This is probably the most underestimated subject in IBBS AFO. Many students think I have completed agriculture. Why should I study banking? Remember one thing, you are not applying to become a scientist. You are applying to become an agricultural field officer in a bank. You should know crop loans, priority sector lending, government schemes, crop insurance, Kisan credit card, about NABARD, then interest subvention schemes, warehouse receipt financing. All these topics directly relate to your future job. That is exactly why this subject is becoming increasingly important. Please don't postpone banking until the last week. Give it proper importance. Next, your focus would be on agricultural economics. Economics often looks simple, but simple subject can also become scoring subjects. Okay, what we have to study? Market structure, what is MSP, what is CACP, then government programs, farm management, statistics, then ENAM. These topics are repeatedly connected with agriculture and rural development. Most questions are concept based questions. If your fundamentals are clear, this subject becomes highly scoring. Next, plant breeding and genetics. This comes a relatively smaller subject, but remember something, smaller doesn't mean unimportant. Sometimes one question decides selection. Botanical names, hybrid seeds, biotechnology, GM crops, mutations, taxonomies. These topics deserve a proper revision. Never ignore a subject just because it contributes fewer questions. One mark can change your rank, one mark can decide whether you receive your appointment letter or not. Then fisheries, sericulture, forestry. These are comparatively smaller portions, but every year students ask me, Sir, should I leave these topics? My answer is always the same, no. Study them smartly, don't spend weeks on them, but don't ignore them either. Even one direct question can become your easiest mark in the examination. Now, let me show you something even more interesting. Everything we discussed until now was only at the subject level. But here comes the real game changer. Inside every subject, some chapters are much more important than the others. For example, agronomy is not one chapter, it contains many different concepts. The same is true for soil science, animal husbandry, horticulture. So the next question becomes which chapters inside this subject deserves maximum attention? And that is where this analysis becomes completely different from anything available online. Let's go one level deeper. I can confidently say this is the section that took me the most time to prepare, breaking down every subject into individual high priority subtopics required by analyzing previous year question papers. So don't skip the next section because this is where you'll know exactly what to study first inside each subject. Now we come to the section that I personally believe is the biggest contribution of this entire analysis. Anyone can say study agronomy, anyone can say study soil science, but what exactly does that mean? Agronomy itself has dozens of chapters, soil science has dozens of concepts, animal husbandry has hundreds of facts. If I simply tell you to study the entire subject, I haven't solved your problem honestly. I only repeated the syllabus, so I asked the different questions. Inside every subject, which chapters have historically produced more questions? Which concepts are repeatedly tested? Which areas are becoming more important? Which areas are becoming more important? That is how this subtopic roadmap was created. Again, let me repeat this. This is not an official IBBS topic distribution. This is a data driven preparation priority based on previous year questions and current trends. Let's begin. First, we are going to see is subtopic breakdown of agronomy. Okay. While going inside agronomy, don't look at it as one GN subject, break it into manageable pieces. The first important area is cropping systems and intensity. Every agriculture officer should understand multiple cropping, intercropping, relay cropping, crop rotations, and cropping sequences. The second area is weed management and herbicides. You should know herbicides, their classifications, know it is a selective or non-selective herbicide. You should know pre-emergence and post-emergence applications. The third important area is irrigation and critical stages. Critical stages of irrigation repeatedly appear in examinations. You should understand crop water relationship instead of memorizing it blindly. Then comes fertilizers and biofertilizers. Integrated nutrient management, biofertilizers, major fertilizer compositions. These are areas you should revise repeatedly. Don't ignore crop classification. One direct question from classification can become an easy mark. Finally, study tillage, conservation agriculture, then sugarcane cultivation, and important package of practices. Together, these form the core agronomy preparation. Okay, so from agronomy, I am expecting 4 questions in prelims, and in mains I am expecting 7 questions. Now let's move to soil science. If there is one concept you should master, it is soil pH. Everything changes with pH. Nutrient availability, microbial activity, soil amendments, crop suitability. Then study problem soils, that is saline and sodic. Then acidic soil. Know their characters and what reclamations you should do. The nitrogen cycle is another favorite. Instead of memorizing arrows, understand the process. Organic matter, then soil organic matter and humus. You have to study C/N ratio, then mineralization, then immobilization. These concepts frequently connect multiple chapters together. Plant nutrient deficiency symptoms should never be skipped. These are direct scoring areas. Complete your soil science preparation with soil classification and soil amendments. So, from soil science, I am expecting prelims 4 questions and in mains 7 questions. Next, animal husbandry. Animal husbandry has always rewarded concept based preparation. You should start with cattle and buffalo breeds. You should know important indigenous breeds. You should know important exotic breeds. You should know their utility. Then coming to milk composition and testing. This is another important section. Then you should move to disease and vaccines. Instead of remembering only disease name, learn the causative organism. Then important symptoms and vaccines. Then reproduction is another scoring area. Then gestation periods. Then artificial insemination, heat detection, basic reproductive physiology. Don't forget poultry management. And finally, animal nutrition and breeding methods complete this subject. So I am expecting 4 questions in animal husbandry in prelims and in mains 7 questions. Horticulture should never be studied randomly. You should start with fruit crops, especially mango and their varieties, then rootstocks, important characters, then you should study post harvest technology, then storage, then about ripening, packaging, then cold chain management. Propagation method deserves special attention. You should study what is sexual propagation, what is asexual propagation, then layering, grafting, budding. Okay. Plantation crops like banana and coconut. Okay. This is most important. Complete this subject with vegetables, then mushroom cultivation, planting systems, and floriculture. Okay, so I am expecting in prelims 3 questions and in mains 6 questions. Next, agricultural engineering. Keep this subject simple. You should understand tillage implements. What is primary tillage? What is secondary tillage? You should know where each implement is used. Then study irrigation methods carefully. Surface irrigation, sprinkler, drip irrigation, then micro irrigation. Okay. Then coming to spraying equipments, then farm power and machinery. basic farm power concepts. Finally, revise modern technologies like soil testing and drone technology that is used in agriculture. IBPS increasingly focuses on practical agriculture rather than heavy engineering calculations. So I am expecting prelims 2 questions and in mains 5 questions. Then coming to plant pathology and entomology, that is our crop protection. Understand disease triangles. Okay, symptoms. What are the signs? What are the causal organism? Whether it is a fungal disease or a viral disease. Then transmission. Then integrated disease management. Okay, study fungal disease first, then bacterial disease, then you go to viral disease. Finally, you should revise integrated pest management and biological control. These concepts are becoming increasingly important in sustainable agriculture. Okay, so I am expecting in prelims 2 questions and in mains 4 questions. Okay, banking and agricultural finance. This subject can significantly improve your score because crop insurance. Multiple questions were asked in PM of VY. Understand the objectives instead of memorizing abbreviations. Okay. Study Kisan credit card and interest subvention scheme. Then repayment structure, eligible beneficiaries. Okay. Don't ignore NABARD and priority sector lending. Then warehouse, receipt financing. Then cooperative credit. Okay. These are highly relevant for the role of an agricultural field officer. Okay. In prelims, I am expecting 2 questions and in mains, I am expecting 5 questions. Next, agricultural economics. You should focus on concepts. Okay, what is minimum support price? What is CACP? Then agricultural marketing, you should study. Then what is ENAM? Then farm management and basic statistics. Okay, then government schemes. Then compulsorily you should study about Indian agricultural budget. Okay, then every government programs related to agriculture. Don't study economics as a theory subject. Study it from the farmer's point of view always. Okay, so from prelims I am expecting 2 questions and in mains I am expecting 4 questions. Okay, next coming to plant breeding and genetics. This is a small subject, but every mark matters. Botanical names you should know, then taxonomy, scientific names, what is hybrid seed production, heterosis, mutation, GM crops, and biotechnology. Don't leave these for the last week. They require repeated revision. Okay. So I'm expecting 1 questions in prelims and in mains 3 questions. Okay. Finally, we are going to complete your preparation with fisheries. Okay, basic aquaculture, important fish species, then silkworm rearing, then silk varieties, then basic forestry concept. Okay, don't over invest your time here, but don't ignore these topics either. Okay, one easy question from here may become the difference between selection and rejection. Okay, now I am expecting prelims 1 question and in mains 2 questions. Okay, now after looking at all these subjects and subtopics, one thing should be very clear. This examination is not about studying everything equally. It is about studying everything intelligently. Now the next question comes, how should you actually prepare using this roadmap? Should you finish one subject completely? Should you study multiple subjects together? How many hours should you spend on revision? Which mistakes should you avoid? That is exactly what I'll explain next. Now that you have seen the complete roadmap, the biggest question is how should you actually use it? Okay? Because simply downloading this video or taking a screenshot of these slides is not going to improve your score. The roadmap is useful only if you convert it into a preparation plan. Let me tell you exactly how I would prepare if I were appearing for IBPS AFO 2026. Step 1. Don't start with your favorite subject. This is one of the biggest mistakes students make. Some students love agronomy, they spend 1 month only on agronomy. Some students are comfortable with animal husbandry, they keep postponing soil science. Some students are afraid of banking, they leave it for the last week. Please don't do that. Okay? Your preparation should not depend on what you like. It should depend on what the examination demands. That is why we prepare this roadmap. Follow the priority, not your comfort zone. Okay, then step 2. Build your foundation first. Your first goal should be understanding the concepts. Don't try to memorize everything on day 1. Okay, first try to understand, then revise later. Memorize only after multiple revisions. This is important. Remember, understanding creates confidence. Memorizing without understanding creates confusion. Then step 3. Revise every week. Most students keep studying, very few students revise. That is the difference. If you complete 10 chapters without revision, after 1 month you will remember only 3. Instead, you should study less and revise more. I would rather complete 8 chapters and revise them 5 times. Okay, so you should study less, revise more. Okay, then step 4. Previous year questions are your best teacher. Every chapter you study, immediately solve previous year questions. Don't wait until the syllabus is completed. Okay, previous year question teach you two things. First, how IBPS asks questions. Second, how deep you should study. This is far more valuable than reading 10 extra pages. Then step 5. Don't collect study material. This is a disease among competitive exam aspirants. Telegram PDF, WhatsApp PDF, Google Drive PDF, another coaching institute PDF, another handwritten notes, another expected questions PDF. Then after 1 month, students have hundreds of PDFs and almost zero revision. Please remember this sentence. The student with fewer books but more revision usually defeats the student with hundreds of books and no revision. Quality is more important than quantity. Then finally, you should keep short notes. Every time you finish a chapter, write 1 page revision notes. Not 20 pages, just 1 page. Before the examination, those 1 page notes will become your biggest strength. Now let me answer some common questions. Okay. The first question students ask me is, Sir, should I study according to this exact distribution? My answer is no. Study the complete syllabus but allocate your time intelligently. High priority areas deserve more revision. Lower priority areas deserve proper coverage but comparatively less time. That is the purpose of this roadmap. The second question is, Sir, can IBPS ask questions outside this analysis? Yes, absolutely. Competitive examination always have surprises, and that is why I have repeatedly said throughout this video, this is not an official IBPS blueprint. This is a preparation strategy built from historical evidence and trend analysis. Okay. The third question is, Sir, is this enough for selection? No single PDF, no single teacher, no single coaching institute can guarantee your selection. Selection depends on your consistency only, your revision, your mock test, your accuracy, and your hard work. This roadmap simply ensures that your hard work moves in the right direction. Okay? My promise to you, when I started preparing this analysis, my goal was never to create another PDF. There are already thousands of PDF available on the internet. My goal was different. I wanted to answer one simple question. If I were preparing today, what would I study first? That question became this roadmap. Over the coming weeks, Tarvoset will teach according to this strategy, not randomly, not chapter after chapter from a textbook, okay? But according to examination priority, every class will have a purpose, every chapter will have a reason, every revision session will bring you one step closer to selection. That is my commitment to every serious aspirant watching this video. My final message to you before I end this video, I want you to remember one sentence. Success in IBPS AFO is not decided by who studies the most. It is decided by who studies the right things, revises them consistently, and performs under pressure on the examination day. Never compare your preparation with someone else's preparations. Compare today's preparation with yesterday preparation. Okay, improve 1% every day. Small improvements will give big results. One chapter becomes one subject. One subject becomes one examination. One examination becomes your one appointment letter, and one appointment letter can change an entire family's future. Never underestimate the power of one well planned preparation journey. If this video gave you clarity, then our objective has already been achieved. But this is only the beginning. From the next class onwards, we are going to start covering every important subject according to this roadmap. We'll discuss concepts, previous year questions, then expected areas, then revision techniques, then mock test strategies, everything you need to crack IBPS Agricultural Field Officer 2026. So if you are serious about your preparation, subscribe to TurboSed and become part of this journey. Also tell me one thing in the comments. Which subject scares you the most? Is it agronomy? Is it soil science or animal husbandry, banking or something else? I'll read your comments personally and prioritize the upcoming classes accordingly. If you found this analysis valuable, share this video with your friends who are preparing for IBPS AFO. Someone may be studying without a direction today. This roadmap might completely change their preparation. Thank you so much for watching. I wish each one of you the very best for IBPS AFO 2026. This is Tarvo said. I'll see you in the next class.